We require assistance. Go forward, we're on our way.
Aircraft on the ground, just remain in your positions.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
Hello and welcome to Cardiff Airport on a November morning where temperatures have dropped to near freezing, but the atmosphere around the airport seldom has been this heated. The ongoing issues with the airport's safety systems are starting to have consequences for the airport, and so in the midst of all that trouble is the news of the completion of the airport's new parking garage almost forgotten. Trouble or no trouble, the day's operations at the airport must go on, so when we look over at the terminal, we find this Dornier DO328 of British Airways Sun Air. With 1 hour until the planned departure, things are still very calm around the plane. The return of a well-known airline can be observed at the next stand. Eurowings has returned to Cardiff and is now connecting Cardiff with Dortmund using the airline's ATR aircraft on the new route. Preparations for this morning's flight are slowly picking up. Late yesterday evening, this ERJ 145 of BMI arrived from Manchester and will later this morning start this day's traffic program with a flight to Munich. In the next ramp, we find this A320 of Spanish low-coster Click Air. Some first cargo is being delivered to the aircraft that in 40 minutes will be leaving to Barcelona. Still fast asleep is this A320 of BMI that yesterday evening arrived from London Heathrow and in 1 hour will be starting today's service with a flight to Paris. Aer Lingus has been connecting Cardiff and Dublin for years and is a steady and loyal customer of the airport. And so we also this morning can observe this A320 that will be prepared for this morning's flight back to the Irish capital. Another airline with a strong connection to Cardiff is KLM, but the history of the Cardiff-Amsterdam route has seen quite a few changes over the years. KLM had handed over its feeder route to the airline's subsidiary Buzz and even had a base at Cardiff and operated a wide network of routes out of the Welsh city. This was continued after Buzz was sold to Ryanair. However, the slow decline of the Buzz base at Cardiff and subsequent closure and absorbing of Buzz by Ryanair led to the return of KLM on the Cardiff-Amsterdam route. And so we also this morning find a 737 of KLM that will be flying to Schiphol. In 30 minutes, the 737-500 of Lufthansa is scheduled to operate today's morning flight to Frankfurt. Ground crews have arrived and are starting the necessary preparations. Another classic 737 can be found here in the ramp and is in operation for Air France. This will however soon be a thing of the past, as the airline has announced the retirement of the 737-500 fleet by next year. The aircraft type will be replaced by Airbus A320 aircraft. Already in full swing are things over here at this A320 of British Airways that is being prepared for the early morning flight to London Heathrow. With 15 minutes left, passengers are boarding the aircraft and the last pieces of luggage are being loaded. With 30 minutes left on the clock, things are also picking up around the 737-300 of BMI Baby. The aircraft arrived yesterday from Naples and will today start off with a flight to Montpellier. Alitalia is once more present with one of the airline's Embraer E70s, and also this morning the plane will be heading to Milan Linate. However, with a planned departure at 7:30, there is still plenty of time before we will be able to see any activity around here. Now, before we head out to the remote stands, it's time for the news. Airport management under pressure. After months of problems with the airport's fire detection and suppression system, a subsequent ordered partial closure and extensive refurbishment of the terminal extension's safety systems, works on the newly installed fire detection and suppression system has entered the final phase. Newly leaked documents are, however, shining a questionable light on the airport management involvement in the matter. Documents indicate that the airport's fire department for months had been warning the top management about the issues in the terminal and even questioned the decision to open the terminal last year without a fully operational safety system. Due to the ongoing interruptions of operations at the terminal, Emirates has now announced the suspension of its service to Cardiff for the foreseeable future, and Northwest and Continental Airlines for the first time also publicly stating their dissatisfaction with the current situation, putting further pressure on the airport's management to solve the ongoing issues as fast as possible in order to minimize the damage to the airport's relations with passengers and airlines. Finnair announces new route. The Finnish oneworld carrier Finnair did today present the airline's plans for new routes to be opened during next year. During the press event, it was revealed that the airline has plans to start connecting Cardiff with the airline's hub at Helsinki Airport from next year's summer timetable. Bongo Air rumors. The cargo airline that has been flying from Cardiff since this summer is rumored to be looking into the possibility of opening a new passenger-carrying airline. If such an airline also would be operating from Cardiff is not known, as it was not possible to get a comment on the matter from the airline. Over at the remote stands, we find this Fokker 100 of Helvetic Airways that once more is operating on the route to Zurich on behalf of Swiss. Currently, things are still quiet around the plane, not really surprising as the departure time isn't set before 10 minutes past 7 in the morning. The crew of this EasyJet 737 has just arrived that will be heading to Faro in about 30 minutes time, so the cabin hasn't got much time before the first passengers for today's morning flight will arrive. Welcome Air is back again at Cardiff and will once again fly tourists to the Austrian Alps. After having arrived yesterday evening from Innsbruck, the Dornier will be heading back to Austria later this morning at 8:30. All quiet around this Avro 100 is the situation currently at this Swiss Airlines flight that will be heading back to Geneva at 10 minutes to 7 this morning. Things will however soon need to pick up around this Flybe Bombardier Dash 8 Q400 if the plane is to leave on time for this morning's flight to Liverpool, which is scheduled at 6 o'clock in the morning. Due to the high volume of cargo operations at the moment, this A310-200F of Bongo Air Cargo is being handed over here. The aircraft arrived during the night from Cologne and is now being finished up for a morning flight back to the airline's main base at Esbjerg Airport. Now with that, let's head over to the GAT and maintenance areas. Over here we find this Boeing 747-200F of Saudia Cargo that came in from Liège with some engines that are being returned to its lessor. These engines will be brought over to BA Maintenance, who have been hired to inspect the engines after their return. At the GAT we also today find some highlights for spotters. Very early this morning, Malmö Aviation arrived with one of the airline's Avro 100 aircraft, as it has been hired in by a local sports team to fly staff and athletes to Jersey. Next in the ramp, we find a Little Dornier ambulance flight that will return a German tourist to Paderborn who had experienced an accident during a hike. A very special flight is planned next, as today will be the last day for the Cardiff Flight School's founder. Later this morning, he will be taking one last flight around the Cardiff area, and a water salute is planned for the return, but psst, it's a secret. Over at BA Maintenance, things are as usual. Well, perhaps not entirely, as the maintenance of the airline's ERJ-145 fleet soon will be handed over to Flybe when the regional network is handed over, so the sight of these aircraft here in the hangar will soon be a thing of the past. The maintenance of the airline's 777 fleet, however, will continue as usual, so the big birds will also in the future come in to Cardiff. Now for 4 years we have been following the ups and downs and the many changes in and around the airport. So it is with a heavy heart that we are coming to the end of this, our final tour around the airport. And while an airport is never finished, sorry, I think something's happening.
This is Rescue 1. We require assistance.
What?
This is Rescue 4. We are on our way. Head to Charlie 4 immediately.
Team Red Dot.
Alpha 100
Aircraft on the ground, just remain in your position.
Directed to go on to 1-3. Sorry, on the north vehicle service road. Please advise crash rescue. Report is closed at this time.
Be advised, we need to evacuate the terminal.
Investigation. After welding works in connection to the installment of a new fire detection and suppression system at Cardiff Airport led to an uncontrolled fire in the terminal building, the Cardiff Metropolitan Police today held a press conference in order to inform the public about the ongoing investigation into the matter. Several high-ranking members of the airport's management have been charged, as the investigation and several leaked documents have painted a picture of carelessness and indicates that several fire codes were broken in order to keep the terminal open. While members of the airport's fire department had warned the management about issues with the safety system, also here several high-ranking members of the fire department have come under scrutiny for greenlighting a since much criticized plan to keep the terminal open while a new fire detection and suppression system was to be installed. While the terminal remains open, large parts have been closed due to the extensive damage caused by the fire. When it will be possible to bring the terminal back to its full capacity remains to be seen, as the ongoing investigation still prevents the airport from starting the repair process.
Drummer 1 tower, line up and wait runway 30.
Line up and wait, Drummer 1.
Drummer 1 tower, take off approved.
Take off approved. Goodbye, Drummer 1.
100, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5,